In this video we're going to be looking at how we make a model in 3D. As soon as you take your design in 2 dimensions and put it into 3 dimensions, it will change your idea because you work sculpturally. So number one, it's a tool for you, and the other purpose is as a communication tool, because it's the tool that people can see most clearly your ideas interpreted. The reason we use white card models and don't put any colour in is because we don't want to be distracted at an early stage by finishes. So I always work very quickly in a rough model and in a white model. So this is a very thin piece that's very malleable. Take the 2D idea that you have and try and work out what qualities it'll have in this piece of card. And what's good about pieces of card like this is they fold very easily, they rip very easily, and also they cut very easily. So although what I'm doing is completely random here, but I just wanted to show you how easy it was to get something that has some sculptural qualities, and this is going to look very silly, so you have to bear with me. Now when I put that, although it's very chaotic, into the model, there'll be things about that to a designer that are really interesting. And there's certainly form in that if you can imagine to a 1-to-1 scale would be really exciting. Now, with your designs, you'll have a brief and you'll have a problem that you've solved with a drawing and with an idea. So your crunched up piece of paper might represent a pile of rocks or a ruined church or a hill. So there'll be more of an intention to it, which is not what I've done here. Now, if you're doing something that requires a bit more structure and a bit more form, you might need to start drawing something simple out to begin with. Now, I wouldn't get too bogged down in drawing out your design before you make it into 3D, because you can find some really beautiful discoveries by working quite haphazardly. But here I've just drawn out a really simple, flat bird's eye view of a box, and it just really requires a bit of cutting, a bit of folding. You very quickly have something in 3D. Now, these are some other shapes that you could make in 3D. That are often used in theatre. So you'd have maybe a ramped level or a bigger level. We've already seen this cube here. You might also want to look at angling your shapes or structures. So if you have a circle, you could put that on an angle by using just some cut-out triangles, not too dissimilar to this, in a thicker card, and fixing it on the back just quickly with some tape or with some simple glues. But as soon as you put something like that in the model, you've already got something really interesting, and you can start positioning your figures. So then you might want to bring back your cube and see 2 things together with a person inside. So here's a design from Swan Lake, and there's a ruined church in it. Now I'm wondering, out of the materials in front of me, which I'll select to make my ruined church. There's a torn, crumbled edge. I imagine it's made in 3 dimensions and layers of brick. So I think maybe using this thicker card will get something quite interesting. So I'm going to take my figure out of the box and I'm going to make a really quick drawing of this arch here on the page. So I think it's going to be quite big comparatively to my figure, and I'm going to really roughly do a shape. And that's all the drawing I've done. And just with a pair of scissors, I think there are a couple of straight lines to cut. And the rest I'm just going to rip and see what happens. So now you've got a ripped, ruined, crumbled church, and I think that's, or chapel, and I think that's quite interesting. So the last thing you need to do with that is just to stand up in the model, because of course if you were presenting to your director and you put that in there with a figure there, which has just disappeared, it would just fall down. So you need to simply stand it up, and by just cutting out some quick triangles, you can fix those onto the back to allow your more 2-dimensional cutouts or the 3D objects to stand up this way. And then we can put our church maybe in this corner. You can see your sketched, drawn design in 3 dimensions in the model box. And because it's taken you no time at all, you're able to take it out and adjust it very easily, and you're not precious about